Howie Carr Show now presents The Week in Woke.
Do you tire of remembering which pronouns to use? Do you find yourself trying to remember the correct acronym when addressing social issues? Are you struggling to find new and exciting ways to reduce your carbon footprint? Well, fear not, friends. The Week in Woke is here to help.
This is the part of the show where we talk about all the woke stories from the last week. We try to educate Howie and the listeners on how to be more woke, how to live a more woke lifestyle. Basically, we want to get you to the point where you're cancelable. You're just this patron saint of woke.
Where you could just come up right off the top of your head with the correct neo-pronoun.
Correct. Very good, Howie.
For whoever you're with. That you can distinguish between a truthful statement by Greta Thunberg and a mere metaphor, or as we like to call it now, a Greta-phore.
And I guess we're going. I like that, Greta-phore.
That was from the text line, but thank you, text line, for giving me that line.
We are going to have a new. It's not a new neo-pronoun, but one that's been in circulation for a while that you shouldn't be using when you're talking about something else. But first, our first Week in Woke story is from United Airlines. Fresh off its announcement of a plan to make women and people of color 50% of its new pilot hires, United Airlines has taken its wokeism one giant step further. In true John Kerry, Al Gore fashion, it has, quote, committed to being 100% green by reducing their carbon emissions 100% by 2050. I don't know how they're going to do that. Maybe they'll just completely go out of business by then.
You know what, Taylor, here's the thing. The people who made that promise, most of them are going to be dead by 2050, and the ones that aren't dead are going to be long since retired. So what the hell does it really matter?
It's really not that far away if you think about it. 29 years. I mean, speaking historically, of course, the airline says it has invested in groundbreaking technology.
Groundbreaking technology.
This has really got to be a groundbreaking.
They're going to use batteries. They're going to use batteries
to make our goal a reality, but acknowledges that there's still a long way to go. United is investing in sustainable aviation fuel, which it calls the fastest and most effective way to reduce emissions across their fleet. So says the company's chairman, Scott Kirby. And he also invites members of the public to make a personal contribution for our purchase of sustainable aviation fuel. So they want you to pay their gas bill for them.
I'm trying to fight off the Transportation Climate Initiative in Massachusetts. The other 49 states will have to pick up the slack for those of us in Massachusetts.
So if you want to contribute, just write a letter and send in your nickels and dimes to United Airlines so they can purchase sustainable aviation fuel. This story is very interesting because it comes from a member of the left, one of the high-ranking members of the left. You may or may not have heard of him, but he's being canceled. He is aggressively atheist and hyper-Darwinian Richard Dawkins, and he has had his Humanist of the Year award from 1996 rescinded by the American Humanist Association. I know. Here's the AHA statement. Regrettably, Richard Dawkins has over the past several years accumulated a history of making statements that use the guise of scientific discourse to demean marginalized groups. An approach
I'm getting the vibe, the trans vibe.
An approach antithetical to humanist values.
Antithetical.
His latest statement implies that the identities of transgender individuals are fraudulent, while also simultaneously attacking Black identity as one that can be assumed when convenient. His subsequent attempts at clarification are inadequate and convey neither sensitivity nor sincerity. Consequently, the AHA board has concluded that Richard Dawkins is no longer deserving of being honored by the AHA and has voted to withdraw, effective immediately, the 1996 Humanist of the Year award. They're going back 25 years to take this guy's award away. What was his sin, you say? Well, he tweeted out earlier this week. This was his tweet. In 2015, Rachel Dolezal, one of our favorites, Howie,
Yes.
a white chapter president of the NAACP, was vilified for identifying as black. Some men choose to identify as women, and some women choose to identify as men. You will be vilified if you deny that they literally are what they identify as.
Well, I can see that's just unspeakable hate speech for him to say something like that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. How dare he?
Exactly. I compared the trans people to Rachel Dolezal, and he later apologized. Well, he responded to the criticism. He said, it was also not my intent to ally in any way with Republican bigots in the U.S. now exploiting this issue. Back in 2015, he also wrote, quote, is trans woman a woman? Purely semantic. If you define by chromosomes, no. If by self-identification, yes. I call her she out of courtesy. So they canceled him because he's relying on the science. You know, something they
follow
like
the
to abide
science. I thought that's what they lived by. I thought
That's
they were
what I
the
thought, too.
reality-based people. Did he? You know, what would he have gotten away with it if he'd have said that Elizabeth Warren, the fake Indian, was a racial fraud, or was it just Rachel that screwed him up?
I don't think he would have gotten away with it because that's a settled issue. She's 1,047th Native American or something like that. Howie, the Week in Woke is brought to you by Thinker.org. No more in no time. With Thinker, that's think with an R, like in read. Thinker summarizes the key ideas from noteworthy nonfiction. Here's what I can boil it down to. If you're a heavy reader like Howie is, and you don't want to spend that $29.99 on a hardcover book before you know too much about it, Thinker.org is the perfect way to get a nice 15-minute summary of the book. You're going to hit all the key points in the book without getting the entire book itself, of course, but you are going to know if you're going to like this book or not. So don't waste your $30, a couple of times a month without knowing exactly what you're getting, without first visiting Thinker.org. With Thinker, you can get a 10-minute summary to read or listen to, so you can try before you buy. For a free trial, including Howie's New York Times bestseller, The Brothers Bulger, go to thinkr.org. That's thinker.org. This is one that came out today, and this gentleman, he does not identify what company he works for, but it provides services to insurance carriers. And he says, recently, a large nationally operational third-party administrator issued a directive, excerpts of which I've included. And this is one of the excerpts. Hello, team. We wanted to send out a note regarding this, as the carriers do not want to see the word tranny or trans manually entered when referring to a transmission or transmission fluid, as it is a political correctness issue. We understand that it has been used for a while and is considered industry slang. However, in today's society, it can rub some the wrong way and create legal issues.
Who could it rub the wrong way if you refer to a transmission as a trans?
I would imagine the transgender community.
Have we discussed this before? But are Trans Ams no longer an acceptable
phrase? Very good point. And they're really a symbol of toxic masculinity if you're going to take the Burt Reynolds approach to that. After about 3 minutes of thoughtful consideration, the gentleman writes, I dashed off the following in response. In a world of insane hypersensitivity, wouldn't the phrase rub some the wrong way also have sexual overtones for those sad people that have nothing better to do than see if they can figure out a way to be offended?
So what if my car breaks down? Let's say I have an old standard shift car, and it breaks down and it gets towed away, and I go into the garage and I say, what's wrong with my car? Well, you're going to need a new I can't say the word.
You can say transmission, but you can't say trans and you can't say tranny.
What's the difference?
More syllables. All right, this is our last story. This is our Karen of the week. And this is a University of Nevada, Reno lecturer. Her name is Kate Pollard. And she's nixing songs she used to salute but now perceives as problematic. when she began as a middle school teacher, Kate held to the songs upon which she'd grown up. Many of them we know. In fact, she corralled her choir to sing a medley called An American Trilogy. Included was the Battle Hymn of the Republic and the tune All My Trials. The collection began thusly, "Oh, I wish I was in Dixie, away, away." Of course, that's racist, as we all know. In 2009, she put together a group of American folk songs, Black American folk songs, and songs from other Western and non-Western culture for students to memorize. But last March, the same week, she points out, that 8 people, most of them Asian women, were murdered near Atlanta by a white gunman. She made the difficult decision to acknowledge her ignorance. As it turns out, many of the songs she taught, not only in middle school but college, were not appropriate. Mainstays such as Polly Wolly Doodle and Shortening Bread are tied to blackface minstrelsy, she revealed through her research. Land of the Silver Birch and Canoe songs suffer from misrepresentations of Indigenous, Native American, and Canadian cultures. Furthermore, if you've ever sung the song Five Little Monkeys to your kids, you know that one, Howie?
No.
5 little monkeys jumping into bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." You're racist, because that is a term used by white Americans to stereotype and degrade black Americans. I always pictured...
How about 5 little transmissions?
Also, we have to get rid of a couple of more songs, one of them being a holiday mainstay.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
That's right. Jingle Bells has got to go. It's problematic because she read that slave owners used to put bells on slaves to keep track of them, which the Jingle Bells are referencing.
I would think Jingle Bells would be okay because if you're on a one-horse sleigh, your carbon emissions are way down to 0.
You would think that, but you're conflating two different social justices. You're conflating social justice with environmental justice. And may I also add my own submission for a holiday song to be canceled, a Christmas song to be canceled. That's Nat King Cole's Christmas song. Did you catch that?
Yes.
We have to change that to Inuits. Inuit Americans. Folks dressed up like Inuit Americans. All right, Howie, that's the Week in Woke. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Week in Woke. If you got a submission, send it to Taylor@HowieCarrShow.com. Taylor@HowieCarrShow.com. Last summer, I had a dental emergency, and where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but was reminded yet again of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer and a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. We're in a climate right now where a lot of people don't want to go into the city for whatever reason. Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, right off the major highway. Parking is plentiful. Parking is free. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols they've taken since the virus. Many of them even make you feel more comfortable when you're having your teeth worked on, believe it or not. When you go to Perfect Smiles, you'll feel safe and confident when you visit. And you don't want to let your dental health go to hell here in the pandemic, especially as everything is beginning to open up again. If you have problems with your gums or your teeth later in life, it's going to be expensive and it's going to be very painful. Everybody knows that. Go to Perfect Smiles for the best dental work I've ever had in my life. To see for yourself and to get your perfect smile, call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE. Dr. Bruce Houghton is the best. You can also see my video at perfectsmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile, change your life. I'm Howie Carr.
It's his show, and he knows how to use it.
You turn on my phone. You asked for me if you would. I am paying for this microphone, Mr.
Howie Carr returns after this.